Good morning, everyone. This is Dina, and today is Monday, the 19th of February. So happy President's Day. I hope you are off work, and I hope you are going to get a day to stitch. Wanted to give you a quick update on what I worked on over the weekend. I am back to stitching much more in my normal style. I had a couple of opportunities this weekend to really stitch. My son and husband decided to go and do some exploring. They tried out a new restaurant not too far from here, and it was not a type of food that I particularly was adventuresome enough to try. So I said, I'll stay home and stitch and get my day off filled in that way. So they were kind enough to let me do that. So let me show you what I worked on. Toward the end of the week last week, I was working on a sal for someone you love or stitching on something you love. So I felt like working on my Snowman Mill Hill kit that I'm going to be gifting to my adopted mom for Christmas or her birthday. They're right there together in December, so I get to pick which one. This is what it looks like. Let me try to get some of the glare off. There you go. This is the Snowman by the Mill Hill. It's a Jim Shore design, and I'm really enjoying it. It is something I have to stitch on early in the morning, or I have to use really bright light and a magnifier in order to see it because of the royal blue fabric. It is an Aida, but it is 18 count Aida, so it's a little bit small. But I'm taking it slow. I'm working on it pieces at a time. So this is what I got done. Before I started on it this time, I had the hat done. I had this red done, the broom, and one of the blue shades done. There are two in there, and I'm not sure if it's showing up well for you or not, but there are two shades of blue there. And I went ahead and worked on this piece. I worked on it, and I reported on it on Instagram or Facebook, I think. And then I kept working on it a little bit more. So this is a little more than the last time I showed it on Facebook. But it's coming along, and I worked on it until my eyes got tired, and I put it away. So that is my Snowman, and I hope to get it back out again very soon to work on it a little bit more. Then I went ahead and looked back at my plans. Before I knew I was moving so abruptly, I had planned to do some cross stitching, focusing on each one of my 3 carryover pieces each month, and then trying to fill in the time with work on other pieces that I enjoy and that are newer, and that way give some concentrated time on finishing my 3 pieces that were carryovers from the year of WIP, but also to not let my newer pieces languish and not have any, attention. So this next piece that I had actually planned to work on in February, I was able to pick it up and start working on it. This is Ashley's Roses. You haven't seen that in a little while. And last time you saw it, I had finished the green little leaves across the top, the vines and the leaves. And my plan was to start working on the pink flowers that are up in there where she would be picking the flowers. So that's what I worked on this time. And I'll show you how she's looking now. So there it is all together. And now I'll kind of fold it so I can talk a little better just about the part that I worked on here. I worked on this pink and peach section. There's a pink and white flower here I did, and then I came back over here and I just started working my way across those drapes. They almost look like swags of flowers. And there are two pinks, two peaches, and a white. Only 5 colors. I actually went and counted them because I thought, my gosh, this is taking me forever. It was taking a long time because it's very confetti heavy. Those pinks and peaches, in particular the pinks, are all interwoven together. And there may actually be 3 of those. But, you know, a few stitches of one color, a few stitches of another color, a few stitches of another color. And they're so close and tight, tightly woven in there that I have to do a good section that's easy for me to follow. And then when I start seeing way too many symbols of another color, I have to stop and kind of fill some of that in so that I know where I'm at. I do make a working copy. I am marking my working copy. And I will tell you, that is a saving thing, plus the gridding. I got off one time, and I'll show you where it is. I frogged it and I fixed it. But you see these 2 green vines that come up together? Well, the first time that I started working, there's a vine here, and a vine here. So the first time that I started working on this section over here, this little pink section right there, I came up and started working on it over here thinking I was at the right place because I started it down here. And it didn't take long because of the gridding to figure out I was at the wrong one. So fortunately, I only had to frog a few stitches before I realized, you know, what was going on, and I was able to fix it. So I'm real happy with that. I think the progress is a little bit slower than I would like, but considering how confetti heavy that section is, that's just going to be something I have to slow down and work through very carefully in order to get the right blend. So my thoughts are, I came across here and I'm in about the middle of the second one of these little swag looking groupings of flowers. So on my next rotation, I would dearly love to be able to finish this whole thing, but I think that's pretty aggressive. It may be that it takes 2 more rotations to finish the top of those flowers. But once I do, then the next big booger bear is going to be the bouquet. But you get past that and all this are just large blocks of color. They should move pretty quickly. I'm hoping they do anyway. But I am enjoying her. I love the color palette, and I'm enjoying stitching her. So that's my update for today. I have an announcement to make. I am thrilled that for Christmas, my husband and I gave each other a gift together. We had to replace our computer, and so we wound up getting a different type of computer. I'm not used to an iMac. I've never used one before, and so my husband was really wanting to get one, and so we did. And I don't know how to do movies on it, so I have been doing all of my FlossTube movies on my Windows-based PC, and it's dying. It really is dying. The last update where I announced the winner for my 2,500 subscriber giveaway almost didn't get posted. I thought I wasn't going to make it. I could not get it to work. I could not get it to import these little videos that I film on my phone, and then I put them together for the movie. Wouldn't do it. It took me 2 days to get those things really imported. I had to try again and again and again and again, and finally got them in. And so I felt like that needs to be the last video I try to make on that piece of equipment. So today, a friend of mine whom you guys know as Stitchin' It, Stephanie on FlossTube, is going to have a telephone training session with me and walk me through putting together an iMovie on an iMac. So I'm hoping to take copious notes and to be able to learn enough to be able to put together my next video and upload it from there. that way I could continue sharing with you guys what I'm working on and how I'm progressing on it. So I appreciate Stephanie being willing to do that for me, and I hope it works well. I hope I'm one of those good students who can actually catch on. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a lovely holiday. If you're off work, I hope you get lots of stitching time today. And have a great week. And I hope to give you an update on my next rotation by the end of the week. So maybe I'll be seeing you very soon. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Today is February the 22nd, and I'm here to give you a brief update on my latest WIP and then to give you a tour of my craft room. So the WIP that I'm going to share with you today is the Mirabilia Sleeping Beauty. And you've seen this one before. This is my focus for this month. And I'm standing up because it's a little bit larger piece. And I want to be able to back up and show you where I've gotten to on it. It'll look pretty similar to the first time I reported on it. But here it is. I'll try to get in a little closer. I've been working again, going across that bottom piece. And when I picked up on it this time, I was working on that blue sashing and filling in under the purple and green sashing, or I think it's covers that are reversible, and bringing everything down to that grid line that you can see, at least that I'm covering to that point. Some of the threads I run down past that just to finish them off, but I'm very pleased with how it's coming. Probably have gotten a fourth of the row across done. It's slowing down for two reasons. One, I don't get to stitch as much right now because we've just moved and my husband's retired and is here all day, and we have all sorts of things to do in the community to get situated, get your car tags changed, get your homestead exemption file, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, we have things to do almost every day, and so I'm having to stitch, when I can, and not unlike all of you. So that is for one reason. And the second reason it's slowing down just a little bit, I think, is because I'm in another section that's pretty quick to have color changes. It's not a lot of confetti. They're still pretty good blocks of color, but they're just for short periods of time, and then you change to like back to another block of color, and they just alternate in and out, about 4 or 5 colors there. But I'm trying to work my way across methodically, and so I have to stop and start and stop and stop, and so that's why it slowed down just a little bit. But I'm enjoying it, and this month I'm glad that I got to spend a little time on it and to get a little focus on it. I may pick it up again before the end of the month. I'm not sure. I'm so itching to touch my other WIPs because I've missed stitching, during the move, and I think things are lonely and they're calling my name. So I'm going to turn the camera around. You'll notice it just as a quick pause, and then I'll give you a tour of my craft room. But there is one thing I want to show you. You may be able to see it in the tour, but just in case you don't. When I was unpacking, I came across this. Debbie and Donna, this is mine. This is the one I have. This was my mother's. Now, when I grew up, my mother didn't keep her scissors in here. My mother would go outside and cut fresh flowers, and she would put the stems in here with water in the bottom and put them on the center of a table for a really pretty fresh flower centerpiece that was very low to the table, so it didn't get in the way of anybody seeing around each other. It was her casual centerpiece. But I've used it that way only a few times. I'm not very good at arranging flowers, And so I kept it mainly because it was sentimental to me. And when I unpacked this time and I was thinking, oh, I used to keep this in my china cabinet with other nice pieces that my mom had given me. And I thought, oh, here's my scissor frog. I'm so excited. So I now have mine. It is in the center of my stitching area. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So I have a repurposed item. This is great. All right, I'll turn you around and show you my room for today, and hopefully I'll be back in to report soon on another WIP. Happy stitching until then. Bye. Okay, here's my stitchy spot. I'm very fortunate in that we had a couple of bedrooms here on this side of the house. One is our guest room, and the other I claimed as my craft room. Now I've gotten it set up in such a way that if we got in a bind and needed to sleep more people, we could take these tables down, because you can see they're just folding tables, and we could put an air mattress in here or sleeping bags, and we could commandeer this space. But for now, this is my stitchy spot. So I'll try not to make you seasick as we walk in, but we'll pan the room. This is a storage piece. You've seen it before. There's the bulletin board that hangs behind my desk in my former stitching room. And I'm thinking I may put it up on this door right here so that I can walk right over and write notes on it and keep track of things that I might need. Then you'll see there's my lap stand and my storage cabinet that includes all sorts of things stitchy related. I've got all my glues, my cord maker, my magnets, things that are either for finishing or making the needle minders are here together. So I've tried to organize things like that in each drawer. And these are part of my magazine collection and part of my book collection. I have a whole nother stack of each in this closet I'll show you in a moment. But today my goal is to purchase some magazine holders, some boxes. As you can see, I have been storing them in a 3-ring binder, but as they get older and older, that tends to make some of the pages come loose or tear them out, and so I'm trying to move those to magazine binders. And then these are just, this is one of the things I love to do when I stitch, is put a candle under my candle lamp. There's no open flame, but you get the beautiful scents while you're stitching. There's my cart. It's in a state of transition right now. I am looking toward what I want to store on that, whether I want to make it a mobile cart that I can roll into another room and have all of my stitching supplies, should I want to stitch in the living room with my family. But to be honest, this house is so small. When I'm sitting in here, I can see the living room, so I'll share that with you in a moment. This is what I was talking about earlier. I have a designated desk for my sewing machines, and I'll be able to make project bags or finishing or things like that there. There's my IKEA desk that is a new purchase for this year. My prior desk that I was using was a mate to the storage cabinet, but it was so large and it's an L shape that it just took up half the room. So we're going to donate that to our son, and he's going to use it in his art room. So there's one of my lamps and my retreat tags. I'm not sure how I'm going to keep those, but for now I know where they are. And this is my stitching spot. This is where I stitch And I watch floss tube and, you know, just enjoy the few hours that I get each day, if I can get some time each day in order to stitch. As you will notice, there's a guest table here with me with a bench, just so that other people have a place to sit if they want to come in and stitch with me. I hope to make a lovely pad for that bench because it can get hard. It's a wooden bench. This is a cart I've had for many years. It's been used in kitchens, garages, and now it's in my sewing room. But the first basket on top are my active WIPs, things I'm working on every month. And the second gray basket on the middle are my projects that I've sorted by category, and they're waiting in the wings. They're kitted and ready to go at some point. And there's my floss tube. And there's my collection of DMC. I have something new in this room. I have a little computer desk. Now this is an old computer. It's sort of dying, but I have it in here for quick access to the internet or to look something up if I'm watching my iPad, or my husband will come in and work on this computer a little bit. My thoughts are that once it bites the bullet, I will get rid of that and I will regain that storage space right there for something totally different. Okay, so let's open the closet. What a mess. Okay, this is still very much a work in progress, but you'll see in one of the pictures earlier the shelving that my husband and I put in. So I have sewing materials and things at the top, and then I transition here into cross stitch. I have my Firefly Fairies rolled up in that project roll, and I have other things that are either blankets or baby bibs or, you know, items that you stitch on here. There's my fabric box. That's where I keep my fabric that I have in my stash. It's been adequate so far because I don't buy that much fabric at one time. I don't buy it that far ahead, but that's where I keep it, and it's acid-free paper in there to help keep it fresh. And then you can see there are some storage bins to the side. They house other items that you can stitch on, like hand towels and table runners, things of that nature. Come on down here. I've got project boxes. These are the empty DMC boxes that I used to keep all of my collection in, and now I use them for large projects. And then my ironing board is tucked in the corner there, so there's my iron, and I use that mostly for my sewing projects. And then here are additional categories of future projects. This entire box is Teresa Wentzler, and then, you know, this would be a spring and Easter collection, I believe. And I've even started collecting up little frames for smalls, just to hang on to. And then there's my stands. I've got a couple of them in here, and I have a tower of drawers. And in these drawers, one of them houses my chatelaine that I've got in timeout for a little while, and the others house either projects I want to do long term or a sewing project, but that was my system, if you'll recall, before I went to the baskets with the project bags that you see there. Office supplies in the back corner, and of course I have two things that I take when I travel. There's my rolling cart. I've purchased that long since I made the video for my travel bag, but you'll all be happy to know my travel bag is still right there and ready to go. These are the other magazines and books that I need to get onto the desk that I was telling you about. And this little box here is basically files. And these files include things like paper for making cards, patterns for little cards, patterns that I have pulled out of magazines a long time ago, or pamphlets that I have that I want to do or have done. And so it's sort of my initial file system for my cross stitch. And there's still things in there that I might use. So I have just kept that. Looking for a little file drawer or bucket that allows your little hanging files, you know, to hang over them. But I haven't gotten that yet. So as I said, work in progress, but getting there. So here's a collection of sewing room knickknacks that I have been given over the years. And I used to have them on my storage over here. But since I'm going to be using my storage now for my magazines and books, I thought it would be great to put my little collection here. And I can leave my door open and I can see it all day. So it's very nice. You'll notice a couple of things in there from my sister Stephanie. In fact, there's 3 or 4 items in there from her, and then a couple from another friend. So they have a lot of meaning and I enjoy them. I hope you like my craft room. I have had a lot of fun putting it together, and I enjoy working on it. It'll look a lot warmer and friendlier when I get all my pictures up. There's a few I've already picked there on the table. But thanks for touring it with me. Happy stitching, everyone. Hello, everyone. Here's a quick update on my last WIP that I've been working on. I started working a little bit on Quaker Christmas 2 yesterday, which would be the 22nd of February. And my challenge was that I had completed the first 2 pages, which split right in here, right across here, just like that. So I will try to insert a picture of what it looked like before, and you can see the harsh break of the pages where the motifs were split in half. And in some cases, for instance, right over here, there were only 3 stitches that represented the top of these little circles and 1 stitch at the top of the crown. That's where the line went, just right there. So I was ecstatic when my hubby got our printer set up and working, and I went ahead and made working copies of pages 3 and 4, which will be these, you know, sections in here and here. And I got started on them yesterday, and I discovered something, and I don't know whether this is true of all the ByGone Stitches patterns, but if you've never done one, this might be useful information. And if you have done one, then you will recognize this. Sorry for the shaking. There is no indication on the pattern of lines that are carried over from the previous page, because there are no lines carried over. So unless you have a working copy or take the original and line it up perfectly, you do not know what the relationship is between the stitches that you have on your piece and where your next stitch should be placed in relation to that one. So I had a bit of a difficult time trying to figure that the best way. I did not want to tape them together. I could have easily done that. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to keep the 2 pages I had finished taped to my current pattern I would be working on. I just wanted to have the 2 pages 3 and 4 that go across to be the pages that I had to deal with. So I just carefully kept lining them up and lining them up. But let me tell you, there is a point on here, and I will show it to you on the piece, where I had to frog several times because for whatever reason, even lining up the pattern as best I could not figure out the connection. And I had to actually take this photo you're looking at and look at it under a magnifying glass and follow it as if it were a pattern to get the connection right. So, I don't know, next time I may bite the bullet. I might go ahead as I'm stitching the bottom of pages 3 and 4 and stitch the top line of the next 2 pages, so that once I finish 3 and 4 and I want to throw them away, I'll be able to, because I'll have the top line of my next 2 pages already stitched. So I think that's how I'm going to solve it going forward. But let me show you how far I've come. I've only worked on this for 2 days. So here's my piece. And I'm going to pause and turn the camera so that you can see it in the proper layout here. Hold on. Okay, here we are. This is Quaker Christmas 2, and this is how far I've gotten in the last couple of days. So if you'll recall, this motif was split very close to the middle here, all the way across. I can tell you that this little curly Q on both sides of this, what looks like a mushroom to me, and about 2 to 3 rows of this were cut off along that line as well. This motif was it was on the next page. This little piece right here, this unique piece right here, is what gave me all my trouble. So let's talk about that. This flower was partially cut off at the page break. This little stem that had the bottom half here, and these little 3 lines were there, but everything below that was not. So I had to figure out how to connect this whole piece here up right here. And that does not look hard looking at it all stitched. But on the pattern where there was no connection, you couldn't tell where these lined up. You couldn't tell where that X right there was supposed to be. It was very difficult anyway, with all these little, 1X's off to the side and whatnot. But I got it. And then I came on over here. This flower had some of the stem done. I had to finish that and, of course, do. This flower was cut off in the middle of the petal. And then all the rest of that had to be stitched. So we got it done. But that was by far my most difficult motif to try to do. This little crown would have had 1 tiny X on the page above it. That's exactly where the cutoff was, where that little top X right there was on page 2, and this is on page 4. And these 3 stitches across the top of each of these circles were there. Portion of this was there. None of the letter was there. I had left it off. You notice it's 1 below. So it didn't make it on the page. Anyway, now what I have done is I have successfully paired the 2 pages up all the way across. So from now on, as I work on it, I will be fully on pages 3 and 4 without having to review anything or look back at anything. I can just stitch pages 3 and 4 till I get to the bottom. and then I'll work my plan to be able to transition it a little easier next time. I love working on this piece. This was the most difficult thing I've had to do so far on it, and it was a bit of a learning curve for me, but I now know what to do, so I'm excited about it. I'm happy that I'm starting on pages 3 and 4. I have chosen this piece for our our Stitchers Guild here in Georgia that I'm a member of. This is going to be my journey piece this year. The journey piece with the Guild is a piece that you pick that you either know it will take you a long time to stitch, or it's something that you've had difficulty making yourself stitch. But for whatever reason, it's a journey for you. For me, this piece is going to be a long piece. It's going to take a while. And so I decided to make it my journey piece because A, it's a Christmas piece, so you kind of have to make yourself work on Christmas during the year. It's not one of those things you're necessarily in the mood to do until the Christmas season. So I want to get a lot more progress on this piece, so I can't just work on it during the holidays. So I want to give myself some motivation to work on it during the year. And my goal that I set in my journey contract with myself was that I would finish at least half of this piece this year. Now, I haven't counted lately the number of pages that are in the pattern. I think there are quite a few. Not anything compared to a Haid, but I will have to figure out exactly how much half of it is so that I can plot out how many pages I have to finish at what time during the year to be on track. And I will do that. But I just wanted to show you my progress for now. I used this for Friday night off the grid stitching. I was stitching on it when Ginger Gerald was live this evening, and I participated in that, and so I was working on it then. So it's been a great fun evening of stitching, but it's time now for me to put this away so that tomorrow I can pull out yet another WIP that I want to try to touch and get some stitching on this month. So I'll decide what that is in the morning when I get up. You guys have a happy evening. I hope you're having a great Friday night and have a wonderful weekend of stitching. Hello everyone, this is Dina and I'm back today. It's Tuesday, February the 27th, and I'm back today to give you an update on my latest WIP that I've been working on. This is a WIP that I'm actually stitching in a SAL. There's an event on Facebook, and it's entitled, the title of this piece, Nantucket Rose SAL. It's a lovely piece, but most of us that started at the upper side, either left or right side, have been doing nothing but trees forever. And I'm happy to report I'm finally out of the trees. So just a quick reminder, this is Nantucket Rose. It's a lavender and lace piece. And she's a lovely lady, just a lovely one to stitch. And so I am happy to report that I have finally gotten down below the tree line. I had finished the trees last time, and now I have come down to the side, and I've gotten started on the pretty lady. I guess that would be Nantucket Rose. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what I discovered working on her this time. Got ready to do this hair. Looked at the pattern, and the pattern calls for the letter A. It's a lowercase, like a typewriter script, A. Do you see that anywhere there? I couldn't find it. I looked and looked and looked. I couldn't find it. I tried to see if there were notes somewhere. Didn't find any. So I went online and I looked to see if I could find any corrections on the Lavender and Lace website. Didn't see any corrections listed for Nantucket Rose. I may not know exactly where to look. It might have been there and I just don't know how to access it. So I didn't know what to do as far as what the artist intended. So I just had to do my next best thing. I decided to take the color that would be the next one to use and blend the two lightest blondes that I had. So I wound up blending 3047 and 3046, and I used it wherever they called for the letter A. And I think it looks fine. I don't have any problems with it. There's nothing in there that makes me cringe. It looks like the sunlight, is coming this way on her hair, which would be the way she would want to sit to read. And I don't know, it just looked fine. So that's how I did it. But if you figured out where it is in the pattern, or if you found a correction that tells you what it's supposed to be, I would appreciate hearing from you. Just let me know so I could figure out maybe next time how to look differently for it. But I'm still very happy with this piece. I think it's progressing fine. I've only got to work on it a couple of days this month, but I wanted to give it a little bit of attention because I didn't get to work on it in December because of Christmas. And then I didn't get to work on it in January because of moving. And so I felt like I needed to get some attention on this piece this month, and I'm so happy that I did. Well, this is going to be the last update for the month of February. I'll go ahead and put this together and try to edit it and upload it for you because I am anxiously awaiting a package in the mail from Michelle Garrett, and she put up a video last night saying that the Stitchy carousel package, that she had gotten it and had made her selections and was going to replace those items and send it on to me today. So I want to get this uploaded and out there for you to see my update, because the next video that I'll be able to share with you will be when I get the package. So I hope you're having a wonderful month of stitching. I hope that gives you something to look forward to from my channel. And I will talk to you very soon, hopefully, with a package to share. Everyone, have a great rest of the week. And I know there's only another day left in the month, but I hope you've had a fabulous February. And happy stitching to all of you. Bye.